Hello ladies, happy Wednesday, welcome to class. How are we feeling? Everyone excited? Pre-Thanksgiving burn here today? Well, we are taking our body bar reformer class. We're going to get comfortable, getting uncomfortable throughout, taking our challenges and pushing ourselves today. So when you're ready on your carriage, getting your spring set up, we're beginning with bridging on 2 red, 1 blue. And then once you have those springs, you're going to come to lying down on that carriage. Shoulders go against those shoulder blocks. Feet are hip width distance on the foot bar. And you're going to start to just send it that pelvis up toward the ceiling. And then slowly lowering right back down, keeping that carriage home here. Just waking up that spine, articulating one vertebrae at a time. Keeping those hands nice and long down at the edge, not dripping through that carriage. Breathing in through that nose, out through that mouth. Looking so strong, ladies. Stand here, this full range of motion, keeping that nice control. On that next one up, let's hold our bridge at the top. And now we pulse it out here. You go up an inch, lower an inch. You're pulsing for 5, for 8, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, slowly lower the pelvis down, back to that full range of motion. Looking so strong, keeping that carriage home. The challenge is to not let it extend out here. Looking so strong, you're already over halfway through. On that next one up, let's hold it at the top. And you just have a stable hold, breathing here for 5, for 4, full range in 3, in 2, in 1, right back to that full range of motion. Looking so strong, ladies. You're almost out of this one. Coming up in 15 seconds, we're going to take a spring change. Coming to 2 red, 1 yellow. We have our side lying leg press on the right. You're going to come to 2 red, 1 yellow spring. Laying on the left side of your body to face the body bar wall. Right foot is up against that foot bar. We have our sideline leg press in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully sit on up, change those springs. 2 red, 1 yellow. And then once you have those springs changed, you're going to come to lying your left side body on that carriage. Right foot is going to come up against the foot bar, heel to toe connected. And then once you're there, you're going to start to press that carriage out toward the tower. Slowly bend at the knee, resisting that carriage in. As you're in this one, you can support yourself through that left arm over that headrest, knowing you can always lift it up as well, take it out if it's in your way. As you're in this one, having that weight spread even through your foot in the foot bar, we're keeping our joints level as well. So from that ankle, knee, and hip, they're all in that perfect alignment. Everyone looks perfect here, looking so strong, so controlled. On that next one, halfway out, let's hold our carriage still. We have pulses here. You send that carriage out an inch. Resist it in an inch, pulsing for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, full range of motion. Looking so strong. As you're here, connecting that breath work to your body on that press out through your foot. Exhaling out that mouth, and as you're resisting that carriage in, inhaling through that nose, that belly. Next time you're halfway out, let's hold that carriage still again. And now we just stabilize here, breathing for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Right back to that full range of motion, keeping good control through this right leg. Feeling it in those quads here. Looking so strong. You are almost out of this one. 10 more seconds. And then we're getting into our floor lunge on the right. You're going to be on 1 yellow spring, standing on the floor on the right side of your reformer. Floor lunge, 1 yellow spring in 3, in 2, In one, carefully close that carriage. Come on down to one yellow spring. Once you're there, you're standing on the right side of your machine with your right foot on the floor. Left toes go against that shoulder block. We extend our left leg out to straight and then start to bend down and back through this right leg. And if you're going to sit on a chair that's behind you, as you're in this one, thinking heavy into that right heel through that floor. As you're pressing down, you're engaging those glutes, those hamstrings, pulling yourself up to rise. You have a great view of yourself in the mirror and being mindful that we're keeping those hips in our perfect alignment and keeping that left leg long in extension. Knowing that hand bar, that bar in front of you can always take your fingertips and hands to it for a little bit more support, helping you find that balance and trusting through this working right leg. On that next one, let's meet our lunge down. And now we're going to pulse it at the bottom. You press up an inch, lower down an inch. You're pulsing here for 10, for 9, for 8, 7 more seconds, pulsing for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, right back to that full range of motion, looking so strong, ladies. As you're starting to find those shakes to this right leg, remembering that whole class getting comfortable while uncomfortable, working through this burn. On that next one, lower the feet at the bottom in a lunge again. And we just find a stable hold, breathing here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, right back to full range of motion, less than 30 seconds left. Yes, you can. Coming up in 10 seconds, we go into our lunge and lift. Your feet are going to remain the same. Hands are going to come under your shoulders on the foot bar in front of you. We have our lunge and lift in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully bring your hands under your shoulders to that foot bar in front of you. Keeping your legs the same, you lunge down through that right side. And as you press up, you draw that right foot off the floor, lowering it back down to the toe, sole of your foot to heel, protecting that foot. As you're here in this one, keeping that core nice and tight, pressing through those arms through that foot bar. It's a full body killer on this one, getting all those muscles engaged. Chin is remaining off your chest, so we're keeping a long neutral spine here through our body. You all look so strong, staying just like this. Knowing that right leg can extend up behind you, can lift those toes right up to chest, whatever your preference here. Keeping the tongue on your roof of your mouth, not holding that tension throughout. On that next one up, we're going to hold it at the top. And we just breathe here for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, looking so strong for 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, final 2, for 1, right back to that full range of motion, looking so strong, ladies. You are well over halfway through this one. Keep that tempo up, keep that good control. Looking so strong, less than 30 seconds left here. Looking good. Coming up in 15 seconds, we have our front lunge. We're going to take our foot bar, bring it all the way down. Step our right foot onto the foot plate. Left toes are on the edge of the carriage. We're still on one yellow spring. We have our front lunge in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully step on down. You're going to take your foot bar, bring it all the way down over your box. There you go. And then stepping onto the foot plate with that right foot. Bring your left toes onto the edge of that carriage. Your legs are hip width distance for a good support on your base. And then when you're ready, you're going to start to bend and lunge with this right leg, sending it down to 90 degrees behind you. And then you're going to press through that front foot, pulling yourself back to rise. As you're in this one, it's a similar motion as that floor lunge we were just in, but our legs are on the same level plane here, so we might have slightly less of a hinge through those hips. Still going heavy through that right leg, through those glutes, through those hamstrings. Core is nice and engaged here, staying stepped up like a corset, trusting your body over those springs. Everyone has great balance, great control on this one. Your knees are remaining behind your toes the entire time. And if you ever need more support here, you can change that yellow spring to a blue spring, and that'll be a little bit more assistance for you. On that next one, low, let's hold in our lunge. And now we're going to take scooter kicks with that left leg, scooter that knee underneath your hip, and then extend it back out toward your tower. You're here for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, looking so strong, you've got 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, right back to full range of motion, looking so strong, well over halfway through. Looking strong, ladies. Stay here for just 15 more seconds. We have our standing inner thighs on the right coming up next. You're going to close the carriage, turn to face the parking lot. Right foot is on the carriage, left foot is on the foot plate. Your feet are parallel. Standing inner thighs on the right in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully close that carriage, step both feet onto the foot plate so you turn to face the parking lot. Your right foot steps up onto the carriage, left foot remains on the foot plate, and then you begin to press the carriage out toward the tower. Draw it back in toward that front platform. There you go, perfect. And then draw that carriage. Yep, here's the press to that right knee, draw that carriage in. Looking good on this one, keeping that core nice and tight to keep yourself stable over these springs. As you're extending the carriage out toward the tower, if you want to get a little bit more heat on those arms, you can draw them up to shoulder height. And as you bring that carriage home, draw arms back down by your side. Looking so strong. Next time we're at that furthest point, let's find a hold. And we're just going to stabilize here in this hold, breathing for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, for 6, for 5, for 4, 3, 2, 1. Right back to full range of motion. Breathing here, keeping that head lifted for that long spine. Gazing out at the head in front of you. Let's find some pulses. So next time our carriage is halfway out, we're going to meet with a hold. And now we pulse it in an inch, out an inch. You're maintaining tension here for 5, for 4, 3, for 2, for 1, full range of motion, looking so strong, ladies. Really burning out this right leg. This is your last little bit of work dedicated to this side here. We're getting ready to go into that left leg next. In 15 seconds, we have our front lunge on the left. You're going to turn to face the mirror. Left foot is on that front foot plate. Right toes are on the edge of the carriage. Legs are hip-width distance. Front lunge in 3, in 2, in 1. You're really close to carriage. Turn to face the mirror. Your left foot stays on the foot plate. Your right toes go on the edge of the carriage, making sure they're under those hip bones for that strong, stable base. And then you start to lunge down and back for this left leg. Press into that heel to pull yourself back to rise. As you're here through this side, seeing how it feels different than the other. Knowing we all have that dominant and non-dominant leg, so adjusting accordingly as needed. Remembering if you need more assistance throughout this lunge, we can always go from one yellow to one blue here. Everyone looks so strong. I love seeing all the knees tracking behind those toes. Hips are all level, core is staying nice and tight. Keeping those shoulders pulled down and back out of our ears here. As we start to fatigue, we want to maintain that strong posture. Let's hold our next lunge. And here we're going to find those scooter kicks with our right knee, drawing it in underneath our hip. And then scootering it back out toward the tower. You're here for 10, for 9, for 8. Keep breathing for 6, for 5, for 4, you've got 3, for 2, for 1, full range of motion, looking so strong, ladies. Less than 30 seconds left on this one. Yes, you can stay strong with it. Coming up next in 15 seconds, we have our standing inner thighs on the left side. You're going to turn to face the body bar wall. Left foot is on the edge of the carriage. Right foot is on that foot plate. Your feet are parallel. Standing inner thighs on the left in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully close the carriage. Turn to face me at the body bar wall. Your left foot steps onto the carriage. Your right foot remains on that foot plate. And then with our weight, we begin to press the carriage out toward that tower again. And then draw through that left inner thigh, bringing it home here. I love seeing you all add that arm balance challenge. A little bit more engagement here. Looking so strong, ladies. As you're here on this one, remembering to stay breathing. Pressing that carriage out, inhaling through that nose to fill up that belly as you draw that carriage in, exhaling out that mouth, staying fluid, connecting that mind to body. On that next one, halfway out, we hold our carriage still. And now we find those pulses. You press it out an inch, and an inch. You're here for 5, for 4, keep breathing, you've got 3, for 2, for 1, right back to that full range of motion, looking so strong. We're well into the second half of this minute, staying nice and strong with it. Next time we're out of our furthest point, we're going to find that hold. And we just hold stabilized breathing here for 10, for 9, for 8, for 7, you have 6, for 5, for 4, for 3, for floor lunge on the left. You're going to carefully step onto the floor, facing yourself in the mirror. Bring your foot bar back up to position 2. Left foot is on the floor. The right foot is against that shoulder block closest to you. In 3, in 2, in 1. We have our floor lunge on the left. Quickly close the carriage, step on down. Bring your foot bar back up to position 2, and then you're going to bring your left foot near it on the wooden floor. The right foot is against that shoulder block extended out. You're going to begin to bend down and back through this left leg here, and then lunging as you pull yourself back to rise. Perfect. Great transition into that one, ladies. All looking so strong here, keeping this time under tension on these muscles. I'm sure those legs are on fire, knowing you're already well over halfway through. And I've already watched you crush it on that right side. I know you got it in you here on the left. As we're in this one, making sure that that left knee remains behind our toes for the entire lunge. And then we're really pressing into that heel to engage the back side of this left leg so that we those glutes, those hamstrings, as we pull ourselves back to rise. Not holding that tension in the roof of our mouth. Tongue is down, it's nice and light. You can smile at yourself in the mirror. Shoulders remain back out of those ears, and that core staying nice and zip for that strong mid-body. Let's all meet at the bottom for our hold. Next one down. And we just stabilize here, breathing for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, full range of motion. On that next one, halfway down, meet me in a hold. And now we have pulses to our left leg. You lower an inch, you rise an inch. You're pulsing here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, full range of motion, looking so good, ladies. Staying strong here, not letting that right hip drop down. They're both stable and parallel towards that mirror. 15 seconds left, and we get into our lunge and lift on the left. Our feet remain the same. We bring our hands under our shoulders on that foot bar. We have our lunge and lift in 3, in 2, in 1. Keeping our feet where they are, bring our hands under our shoulders onto that foot bar. And then we lunge down and back through our left leg, press up into those hands, drawing our leg off the floor. As you bring that foot back to the floor, I want you to land from toe to ball of your foot to heel, keeping that soft pressure protecting that foot and your knee joint. As you're in this one, it is a full body engagement. Those legs are working, that core stays zipped up nice and tight, and you have that strong pressure through your arms pulling you out of that foot bar. Remember, you can take what pattern is comfortable for you as you lift your left leg out of the lunge. You can extend it straight behind you, draw the knee to chest, whatever your preference here. On that next lift, we're going to hold at the top. And we just hold, stabilize, breathing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. We're well into the second half of this minute here, staying strong through it. Great control here. I love the tempo you're all staying at, pushing through this left leg. Coming up in 15 seconds, we have our sideline leg press. We're changing those springs, so we're coming on to 2 reds, 1 yellow, and then we lay our right side body on the carriage, bring our left foot up onto the foot bar, facing the parking lot. In 3, in 2, in 1, sideline leg press on the left, carefully close the carriage, add on 2 red springs for a total of 2 red, 1 yellow, and then you face me at the parking lot. The right side of your body is laying on the carriage. Your left foot comes up against the foot bar with a full connection here. Once you're ready, you start to press into that foot bar, extending your body out toward the tower, and then you resist in through that foot bar, letting that carriage come home. As you're here, keeping that hip, knee, ankle in that stable alignment, not letting the knee drop down or open up. And then keeping that nice mid-body strong, keeping those heart rates up so it's a full body engagement. Keeping that great control when we add these heavy springs on. It's really fighting against the momentum of that carriage wanting to flow, and you keeping the control here, making this your own pace. Everyone looks so strong on that next one. Halfway out, we hold. And we pulse in here, press it out an inch. Resist it in an inch. We're pulsing for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, full range. On that next one, halfway up, let's hold our carriage still. And we stabilize, full breathing here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, full range. You are well into the second half of this minute here, staying just as strong as you started. Keeping that breath working, control with your body as we're pressing out toward that tower. We're exhaling out that mouth as we're inhaling and resisting the carriage back in. This is our last little bit of work here. Just focus on that left leg. We're going to get into both of those legs next. Coming up in 15 seconds, we have our kick foot on 2 red springs. You're going to pop off the yellow, face yourself in the mirror. Hands are on the foot bar, toes are against the shoulder blocks, knees on the carriage under your hips. We have our kick foot in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully close the carriage, turn to face yourself in the mirror. We're down to 2 red springs, and then hands are on the foot bar under shoulders, toes are against those shoulder rests, knees under hips. You press your arms out to straight, and then you begin to press through the legs, extending, bending at the knees, drawing them under the hips. As you're here, you're pressing out, and then drawing that carriage in, really finding that engagement here one last time. Looking so strong here, really pressing out of those arms, keeping that core zipped up so tight. Powering through both of those legs to do the last little bit of work here on this lower body today. On that next one, an extension, let's meet in our hold. We're breathing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, full range. Looking so strong, we're going to get into those pulses and hold that carriage halfway out. And now we find our pulses, press it out an inch, draw it in an inch, pulsing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right back to that full range. Yes, you can. Less than 1 minute left on these legs, ladies. Looking so strong as we're kicking through. Coming up next, we're going to get into our upper body, hitting our arms with a foot bar chest press. We're going to be on one red, one yellow spring, still facing ourselves in that mirror. Hands stay on that foot bar, feet stay against those shoulder blocks. We have our foot bar chest press, one red, one yellow, in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully close that carriage. Bring your springs down so you're on one red, one yellow. And then your hands are going to come back to that foot bar. You keep your feet against the shoulder blocks. Extend your body out long. And then you're going to press and bend through the hands and elbows, bringing that chest in toward that foot bar. And then extending out away toward that tower. Looking so strong as we're kicking off our upper body with our arms, keeping that tension throughout and keeping those shoulders out of our ears here. Chin stays lifted off your chest so we have that open airway for strong breaths. On that next one, halfway out, we're going to make the hold. We hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. Looking so strong. Remember to stay breathing here as we go throughout this workout today. Working with that body, giving it the energy it needs, not holding any tension. Next, press halfway out. We're going to hold the carriage still and find pulses. You're out an inch through those arms for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to that full range. Looking so strong, only 15 seconds left here, and then we're coming into our hug-a-tree. We're on one yellow spring, so we pop that red off, still facing the mirror. Hands come into those squishy black handles that are on the back side of your carriage. We have hug-a-tree in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully close the carriage. You're on one yellow spring. One red spring, I'm sorry. One red spring, not one yellow. And then coming to kneeling on the carriage, facing the front. Get those squishy black cables in hand that are hanging up behind you. And you're going to bring your arms wide into a ballerina first position. Elbows at shoulder height. When you're ready, you start to press our palms together in front of us, slowly resisting back, stopping when they're next to that side body. As we're here in this one, keeping the chin lifted off our chest, keeping that core nice and tight as if our ribs were a corset. We want it nice and zipped up here. And then stay strong through those wrists as you're pressing those palms far out in front of you, getting all of this motion through that upper arm, through those shoulder rotators. Looking so strong. Next, press forward. We meet with a hold. And we just breathe here for 10, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. If it's ever getting to be too heavy, too much tension holding on to those squishy black handles, you can always bring your hands up to either the short loops or the long loops to take out some of that tension in those arms and maintaining that proper form. Next extension forward, we're going to find pulses of those hands. Press those fingers together, resist them out. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right back to that full range of motion. 15 seconds left. Here we go into an overhead shoulder press. We're staying on one red spring. Arms come wide at shoulder height. Palms face the mirror. In 3, in 2, in 1, we have our overhead shoulder press. We're going to bring those elbows wide at shoulder height and then start to press those palms up toward that mirror. Slowly resisting down, elbows stop at that shoulder height. As you're here, it might feel good to add a slight hinge through that waist, engaging that core. And then as we're sending those hands forward, staying strong through those wrists, not bending and breaking. Still letting all of this motion come from those back shoulders. As you're in on this one, making sure we're breathing here as we press those hands forward, letting out a big exhale from that mouth as we're resisting those hands down, inhaling through that nose. On that next press up, we meet with a hold. We breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. Looking so strong. In 15 seconds, we turn towards our tower for our newspaper. Those cables are going to cross in front of you. You're feeling on the carriage. Newspaper facing me at the tower in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully pick up those loops as you turn to face your tower at the back. And then you're going to get the cables back in hand, cross them in front of you. Elbows are going to be in front of your shoulders. And then we're going to start to draw our hands toward each end of the rope, slowly resisting them back in front of us. So cross those cables for me. It'll be, a little easier one there. Perfect. And then as you're in this one, making sure that core is nice and tight. You can be up in that kneeling position, or you can have those hips seated on your heels. Wherever you are, remembering that mid-body is staying there to stabilize you, and it's never losing that tension or engagement. Shoulders are staying pulled down, back out of your ears. Chin is lifted off your chest. Next one, wide, we're going to hold those arms toward each end of the room, and we hold breathing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right back to full range. Looking so strong, ladies. Next time our hands are wide, we hold them out, and we find little pulses in an inch, out an inch here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. Coming up in 15 seconds, we have our tricep kickbacks. You're going to uncross those cables, slight hinge of that upper body forward to engage the core. Arms are tight by your side. We're still facing the tower. We have our tricep kickbacks in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully uncross across those cables. You're going to engage that core with a slight hinge of that upper body forward, keeping you strong and stable over that carriage. And then we start to press our palms back toward that mirror, slowly resisting them forward next to our legs. Looking so strong on this one. I know it's a juicy. Our triceps are a little muscle group, so it really doesn't take a lot for us to fatigue them. But I've also never seen anyone that like, my triceps look so good today. I don't need to work them anymore. So this is always a great exercise to really put that engagement in, really target that work. Keeping the chin lifted off our chest, our gaze is held in front of us. And on that next press back, let's find our hold. Holding our hands toward that mirror, we're breathing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. Well over halfway through this one, staying with it, we have one move left on our upper body to follow. Coming up in 15 seconds, we finish our arms with our chest opener. Our knees are against the shoulder blocks. We come up to kneeling with a strong core. Hands are next to our side, and we press those palms back toward the mirror. We have our chest opener in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully rise on up, fully kneeling. Engaging that core, arms are long by our side. And then we start to press those palms back toward the mirror, slowly resisting them forward, stopping right around our thighs. As you're in this one, thinking about those shoulder blades when we kiss over your spine, really finding that full tension at that furthest point of your hands. And as you're resisting those arms forward, never letting them come too far in front of your body where you're losing that engagement here. Looking so strong, keeping those shoulders pulled down out of those ears. As that tension starts to rise, we want to press it back toward that mirror, not up toward our head. Next, press back. We hold our arms toward that mirror, and we pulse our hands, send them back an inch, resist them in an inch. You're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. Well over halfway through on this one, ladies, looking so strong. This is where you're finishing your arms, pushing through those shapes, staying with it. Coming up in 15 seconds, we get to hang those glutes up. We have our caterpillar facing the mirror. We're on one yellow spring. Our hands are on the foot bar. Toes are against those shoulder blocks. Caterpillar on one yellow spring facing the mirror in 3, 2, 1. Carefully drop those glutes, hang them up, and then you're going to turn to face the mirror. We're coming down to one yellow spring, so pop that red. And then once you're there, you're going to bring your hands to the foot bar. Underneath your shoulders, toes are high on that carriage, pressing that carriage out toward the tower. And then bending at the knees, drawing it in underneath your hips. As you're in this one, it's that plank-based position as you press that carriage out. And then as you bend at the knee, those hips are staying stable for that tabletop back. As you're working through this one, you can always go up to a high yellow or one blue for more support. Looking so strong, ladies, on that one, knees under hips, we lead with a hold. And we're just breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to full range of motion. Looking so strong, keeping that tabletop back here, pressing through those arms. Chin is off that chest, faces out of that foot plate in front of you. Coming up in 15 seconds, we have our kneeling abdominals. We're still facing the mirror. We bring our hands to the foot plate, so we lower that foot bar down. And then we have our knees on the edge of that carriage. We're in a modified push-up position. We have our kneeling abdominals facing the front in 3, 2, 1. Carefully come on down. Bring that foot bar all the way down over the foot plate. And then you're going to bring your hands to that foot plate underneath your shoulders. Knees are on that carriage. You press your body into a modified push-up position and stabilize through your core. We start to hinge through the shoulders, stepping that carriage back toward the tower. And then we hinge through the shoulders again, drawing them back over those ribs. As you're in this one, hips aren't rocking up and down. You have the shins and top of the feet pressed into that carriage, really engaging that core here. You want this? You're in this one, pressing up and out of those triceps, giving yourself that support through that upper arm. Keeping those elbow creases wrapped toward the mirror to protect those elbow joints as well. Head and neck are long, pulling toward that mirror, keeping that neutral spine here. And on that next one back, we meet with the hold. We breathe here for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, full range of motion. Looking so strong. In 15 seconds, we have our plank to rabbit. Our hands are going to stay on that foot plate. Our toes come underneath our hips, edge of the carriage. We have a tabletop back. We're going to bend and extend through the knees. In 3, in 2, and 1. We have our plank to rabbit. Keeping your hands on the foot plate, your toes come forward toward the edge of the carriage underneath. Our knees are underneath your hips, and then you bend and extend through the knees to press that carriage out toward the tower, and then drawing those knees back underneath your hips. These are a doozy on the body, but they are so good as you're stabilizing. I want you to think about that point between your core from the belly button and your hips, and that's where you're finding the motion, sending that carriage out and then drawing it back home. You're fine. As you're here breathing through, keeping that chin lifted for that open airway, you are well over halfway through this core block, looking so strong throughout. On that next one out, let's meet in a hold. We're breathing here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, full range of motion. That makes it a little bit easier. We have something to distract our brain from the thought that this is just really hard. You're already over halfway through this one as well. Staying in it. We have 15 seconds left here. And then we're going to do our straight arm crunch. Our springs are 1 red, 1 yellow. We're going to come to line on the carriage, shoulders against those shoulder blocks, getting those squishy cables in our hands, sending our hands up toward that ceiling. In 3, in 2, in 1, straight arm crunch, 1 red, 1 yellow, and then you're going to come to line on the carriage, placing your shoulders against the shoulder blocks, getting those loops back, and arms go over those shoulders. Once you're there with the back planted in that carriage, your legs come into tabletop, knees over hips, and then you start to press your hands down straight toward those hips, slowly resisting them back up over those shoulders. Perfect. Perfect. As you're in this one, you can continue just pumping those hands by hips, or you can start to progress by lifting that head, neck, and shoulder off that mat as well. If you're looking for a further progression, after you've started lifting head, neck, and shoulder off the mat, you can start to extend your feet toward the mirror, 45 degrees, and then as you resist back down, bringing back to that tabletop position. Looking so strong, let's hold our hands down by our hips. And we hold breathing here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Full range of motion. Looking so strong, ladies. You are almost out of this one. 15 seconds left. We're getting into that 100. You're going to bring your knees into tabletop. Start with arms over your shoulders. In 3, 2, 1. We have our 100. Knees are in tabletop. We have our arms over shoulders. Press them down by our hips and start pumping. You can keep that head back. And then if it gets to be too much tension, you can always set it back down on the headrest. Looking so strong, keeping that tension through those fingertips here, keeping that core engaged, looking so good. Inhaling through that nose, out that mouth. Staying with it. This is where we're finishing our core today. Looking so good, ladies. Almost out of this one in 15 seconds. We have our reverse plank to pike. We're going to be on 1 yellow spring. Standing on the foot plate, facing our tower. Bring our hands to the edge of that carriage. We have our reverse plank to pike. 1 yellow spring in 3, 2, 1. Carefully hang up those loops. Coming down to 1 yellow spring for me. Making sure you bring that foot bar all the way down again. And then we're standing on and turning to face that tower. Once you're there, you're going to stay there. I want you to bring your hands to the edge of the carriage. Press out into that reverse high plank position. Once you're there, you start to pike through the hips, sending them up toward the ceiling. Folding as if you were a little doll, and then you start to resist that carriage back into your high plank position. Keeping that belly button pulled into your spine the entire time here. And then making sure that we're not flexing through those hips or those legs here, but it's all that core doing the work. I always like to think of a string attached to my hips like those dolls in the circus, and someone's pulling them up toward the ceiling as in half, and then slowly resist back down into that strong, stable plank hold. Looking so strong. This is that full body engagement. We're getting that heart rate up here. Finding that extra little push here to make those differences as you walk out of this room. You're already well over halfway through this one. Pushing yourself through that uncomfortableness. 15 seconds, we have our reverse plank to rabbit. We're staying facing that tower. Toes are on the foot blade and stay under your shoulders on that carriage. Bringing the tabletop back, knees under your hips. Reverse plank to rabbit in 3, 2, 1. Carefully find the tabletop back. Toes are on the foot blade, hands are under your shoulders. And then you start to bend and extend through the knees, drawing them underneath your hips, and then pressing back out into a high plank position. Staying here, keeping that breath work under control, fueling those muscles for these last few minutes of this class. On that next one, with our knees under our hips, we find a hold, and we breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right back to full range of motion, looking so good, ladies. You are over halfway through it on this one. We have one move left of class, so one more chance to find that burn here. Coming up in 15 seconds, we have our short box step up. You're going to get off your carriage, standing on the floor, find that short box, bring it to the right side of your machine. We face the front mirror. Short box step ups in 3, in 2, in 1. Carefully step off. Reformer, you're on the floor. You're bringing the short box over to the right side of your machine. And then you're going to start to step on up, both legs, step back. Taking this at whatever pace you feel comfortable with. The faster we go, the faster that heart rate. You can incorporate those arms into it, keep them on your hips. Wherever we are, I want that core nice and tight, shoulders staying down and back out of those ears. One last time. This is your last little bit of work. You're really pumping those knees, heading them up. Being so proud of yourself, you crushed it this entire class. Finding that inner athlete, challenging ourselves to that point of growth today. You're well over halfway through this one. Stay with me. You have 15 seconds left here, and then you are done with our reformer class. Can we speed it up a little bit more? Keep that heart rate going. Looking so strong, ladies. You are done in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Carefully step onto the floor. Bring those hands overhead. And then just bring them down to heart center. Find any stretches you might need.